By the way, the Bulls are doing a Ring of Honor, and that means they're inviting Phil and Mike and Scotty.
Well, I'm trying to figure out, first of all, the Bulls are an embarrassment to the NBA. I have zero idea what they're doing. They should have had a clearance sale like 3 years ago. I was like, dude, y'all stink, y'all stink, y'all stink. You got to start. I'm trying to figure out when they're going to start the rebuild. I was like, and were they waiting on Michael and the guys to die before they come up with the Ring of Honor? I mean, don't they have a statue out front? I think you'd rather have a statue than be in the Ring of Honor. No disrespect to being, because I'm in the Ring of Honor.
He's going to have both. He's going to have both. But can you imagine Scotty and Mike crossing paths at the Ring of Honor?
Hey, they're not going to do that on the same night.
They are. They are. They're inviting. Everybody is going to be there, and it's next month.
You know what? I got to go. I got to go.
You might not make it. You might make it awkward, even more awkward if you go.
No, I'm just going to sit back in the corner and stare. Hey, wait, what night of the week is the Bulls thing?
What is the January 12th? Friday night.
I can be there. I can be there.
Maybe you go with Michael Jordan's son.
Dan, I'm telling you something. I'm going to have to go to Chicago that day just to see it. I mean, you talk about weirdest, uncomfortable. That uncomfortable won't do it justice. I mean, dude, people, first of all, nobody's going to watch the Warriors or the Bulls. Okay, let's get that out the way. Nobody's going to see the Warriors against the Bulls. But everybody's going to have their camera focused on those guys. I can't wait.
People are going to show up right at the end of the second quarter.
That's exactly right. They're going to go and get all liquored up the first half, and they're going to leave right after halftime.
Yes. That audio gold is courtesy of the Dan Patrick Show. Charles Barkley joining DP. And if you have not been in the loop, the Chicago Bulls will be unveiling their new Ring of Honor. We're going to get to all that in just a moment. It's Paul Chivari. I'm Mike Mercado. We hope you each are having a wonderful day. And yes, the news broke that the Chicago Bulls are finally inducting Michael Jordan and others from their dominant 90s run into the Ring of Honor, including so many other. This comes to us from Ryan Young, a staff writer over at Yahoo Sports. The Bulls announced plans for their Ring of Honor on Tuesday, which will be headlined by Jordan, Scottie Pippen, and Dennis Rodman. The inaugural class for the Ring of Honor includes 13 people and the entire 95-96 Bulls team, which went 72-10 and won the NBA title. The fourth in their sixth title run, former Bulls coach Phil Jackson, assistant Tex Winter, and former general manager Jerry Krause are all being inducted, as are Artis Gilmore, Jerry Sloan, Tony Kukoc, Bob Love, Chet Walker, Johnny Kerr, and Dick Klein. The Bulls will honor the class at a private event at the United Center on January 11th, and then during the halftime of the Bulls game against the Golden State Warriors on January 12th. Warriors coach Steve Kerr spent 5 seasons playing for the Bulls and was a member of the 95-96 team. The Bulls will keep adding to the Ring of Honor every 2 years. In order to be eligible, players must have spent at least 3 seasons with the team and have been retired from the sport for at least 3 years. So much to break down, both from that clip, Paulie, and just in general, the news of this moments coming for Chicago Bulls fans, former players. So many names that I want to rattle off, and I want to see into the Ring of Honor over the next few years. But before we get to know that, the funny clip that we heard from Charles Barkley, like the way he just has a way with words, that was a pretty amazing clip, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I was cracking up listening to that for the first time. And I mean, you know, he's right. It's going to be a little awkward having everybody there. But isn't that how family reunions kind of go?
Yeah, 100%.
And isn't it's the right names? I mean, I know there's names missing from the list, but I think, you know, we got to get the old heads and the greats out of the way before we start going to like the next level guys. Because I think you said Jerry Sloan was in there, right?
Yes.
So it's all the guys who have had numbers retired.
Essentially, the retired numbers.
Bob Love, was it Jerry Sloan, Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman. I'm trying to think who else has had a retired number that would be in that list. I think
got it.
That's everybody. Okay. And then, of course, you know, Phil, the legendary Phil. Of course, you know, Tex has got to go with him.
Jerry's going up there. Jerry Krause.
Jerry Krause. And then, of course, like Johnny Red Kerr for all of his.
Yeah.
Was like first coach of the whole thing, longtime broadcaster. He basically is Mr. Chicago Bowl. And then the 95-96 team, one of the all-time NBA teams, like arguably the greatest if it weren't for the Golden State Warriors and their 73-9, but they did end in a championship. It don't mean a thing if it ain't got that ring. So, and I'm trying to think, like, I didn't know about Chet Walker. What's funny is, I know some, like, probably Bulls history more than me, and I'm sure our boss, like, I'm thinking like Chet Walker, I'm envisioning like some sort of dorky white guy with like red hair that came from Texas or something. But it's like, oh wait, no, the Bulls are from the late '60s, so it's like
that wasn't the case for them. They weren't the Boston Celtics. Yeah.
So I'm looking at Chet Walker and his career and whatnot. Coming from the Sixers, going to the Bulls.
I think it's also because we've had some famous Chicago sports writers with the name Chet that we just automatically go to that. Yeah, but like, no, this was a stud.
But it's like I don't know. I think it's just like like Chuck Converse All Stars, type. And then Artis Gilmore, absolutely deserving. I'm trying to think if there's anybody who else on the list am I missing here, because I think that covers all of the essential bowls right now that you like. If you're talking about the franchise history, like you're telling some kid, Grandpa, tell me about the Chicago Bulls, everything and if you were an almanac, those are the guys that you were gonna pull up. What I'm waiting for is eventually this is gonna run out, or they don't have guys to
I actually disagree with this,
and I'm wondering if this is gonna be an annual thing, because I think eventually you're gonna run out, but eventually you're gonna have to have Derrick Rose in there. Eventually you're gonna have to have Joakim Noah in there. You're gonna have to have Luol Deng. You're gonna have to have Captain Kirk. Who else? I mean, Dave Corazine. Who else gets in? Doug Collins. Eventually this is going to run out for the Bulls. But I love that they're doing it just to, because some of these guys are still alive, and it's like now or never. And I think, based on what Charles was saying, the awkwardness, it's not like you can just pull these guys together every time it's like 25th or 30th, I guess now 30th anniversary. Gosh, isn't that crazy? We're already at the point where these championships are becoming 30 years old. So the reunions are few and far between, less and less as time goes by. So I'm glad that they're kind of having like a big bash to open this thing up, but I feel like they're doing too much at once, and I feel like eventually this is going to run out where, well, what's the point of a Ring of Honor if you can't add anyone to it? So, like, the franchise has to get better in order for this to be justifiable.
So we want to know your thoughts, so let us know. We know that this will be happening every 3 years. They will be going in to see these new Ring of Honors. You have to be retired for at least 3 years, and it'll be every 2 years.
Yeah.
So we see who will go through. We want to know your thoughts.
Derrick Rose is the next one.
We want to know your thoughts. Who should be in the Ring of Honor for the Chicago Bulls? We're on Twitter at Sports Cubicle TV. Leave us a comment down below if you're watching the video version. A very interesting day for Chicago Bulls fans. We'll see who will be inducted in the new Ring of Honor over at the United Center. He's Paul Chivari. I'm Mike Mercado.